Naruto, Hyuga member awakens godly Tenseigan. Episode 131. In the dark and cold tunnel with no sunlight, a colossal human figure with 9 eyes like dead wood stood up. Although it looks like dead wood, it contains indescribable huge vitality. This is the original Gedo statue of 10 tails that was pulled away from chakra. White Zetsu, what's the situation in the ninja world now? Uchiha Madara, who was sitting in front of the Gedo statue, asked faintly, a pair of 3 Tomo Sharingan glowing with magical light. At this time, Uchiha Madara is not old enough to rely on the vitality of the Gedo statue to sustain life. Madara-sama, Hyuga Chen, who you let me follow, defected, and 2 pairs of eternal Mangekyo Sharingan appeared in the ninja world. One pair belonged to Hyuga Chen's little girlfriend, and the other pair fell into Hyuga Chen's hands. White Zetsu said with a serious face, he didn't dare to make a second in front of Uchiha Madara. Oh? Really? Uchiha Madara stared at White Zetsu faintly, a pair of 3 Tomo Sharingan released endless pressure. Yes, that's right. It's so better. It's not that simple to complete Project Tsukinomi. After I die, I still need a chess piece to help me fill in the loopholes in the plan. Hyuga Chen's strength is not bad, and it's a good choice. As for the eternal 12 Hangman Gekyo Sharingan, in the eyes of the 2 gods Rinnegan, there is no fear at all. Uchiha Madara whispered. Master Madara, will Hyuga Chen's strength be too strong, in case? You mean, I can't suppress a kid? Uchiha Madara's cold voice interrupted White Zetsu. No, that's not what I mean. Madara-sama's strength can naturally suppress that kid, but what if the other party has an affair in the future? When Madara-sama is not there, who can suppress the other party? White Zetsu said nervously. After Uchiha Madara heard it, he closed his eyes and meditated. In fact, he didn't really understand Hyuga Chen's strength. When Hyuga Chen is not well known, Uchiha Madara will definitely not pay attention to Hyuga Chen. When Hyuga Chen's fierce name spread throughout the ninja world, White Zetsu couldn't get close to Hyuga Chen. Every time he approached Hyuga Chen and listened to his information, he would be struck to death by inexplicable lightning. Therefore, Uchiha Madara is just hearsay about the strength of Hyuga Chen. But Hyuga Chen killed 7,000 ninjas in one blow, and also killed 8 Tails Gyuki. Uchiha Madara still knew. According to Uchiha Madara's assessment, Hyuga Chen's strength is at least a super shadow level. If this kind of person thinks otherwise, his plan may really be in trouble. I saw him first, and see if he is worthy of his name, or a mere name. White Zetsu, you are responsible for inquiring about the specific location of Hyuga Chen. I want to meet this famous kid in person. After considering it for a long time, Uchiha Madara said to White Zetsu. Madara-sama actually sent out in person, it is really an honor for the other party. White Zetsu flattered. White Zetsu, don't underestimate the other party, it would be easy to be able to pass on the shinobi world, to deter the big villages, and to detect your whereabouts. Uchiha Madara warned. Hyuga Chen is not easy, and he can't make waves in front of Madara-sama. No one is my opponent except Hashirama. At this time, the aging Uchiha Madara, with a touch of haki who is not me, appeared on his body, causing White Zetsu to bend over. Uchiha Madara is definitely the most haki person in Naruto, and no one can compare to Uchiha Madara in this regard. Go. After you find Hyuga Chen, come and report to me. Uchiha Madara waved White Zetsu back. Yes. White Zetsu nodded, then used the mayfly technique to leave, sending a large number of clones to look for Hyuga Chen's movements. Hyuga Chen. Just let me see if your ability is up to standard. 3 Tomo Sharingan flashed faintly, and then closed his eyes. Episode 132. Chen, I was wrong, okay if you let me go. Kushina turned her head and looked at Hyuga Chen pitifully. Seeing Kushina's crying expression, Hyuga Chen let go of her, and then looked at Tsunade and Mikoto. What do you see me doing? Hyuga Chen's wolf-like gaze made Tsunade feel uncomfortable. I didn't look at you, I was looking at the mountain. It looks like a ridge on the side and a peak. It is a beautiful mountain. Hyuga Chen said with bright eyes. Tsunade's face was blushing, it was so obvious alludingly, can't she still hear it? Reaching out, holding up a handful of water, pour it towards Hyuga Chen. Dare to treat your husband like that and see how I can clean you up. Hyuga Chen randomly found a reason, then rushed towards Tsunade and pushed Tsunade into the hot spring pool. Hyuga Chen took advantage of it and made all the girls irritated, especially Hyuga Chen's smug look, very awkward, and people couldn't help but want to beat him up. After staying at the hot spring hotel for one night, they left the hot spring hotel early in the morning and came to the bustling snack street. It tastes so delicious. Although it can't be compared with Mikoto's, it doesn't have a flavor when you eat it once in a while. Kushina said with octopus balls in one hand and tempura in the other. Hyuga Chen and Tsunade have already eaten, their mouths bulging, only Makoto and Conan are still chewing the lady slowly. It's not bad indeed. I will taste the sushi here later. Hyuga Chen said, swallowing the food in his mouth. Let's buy clothes first. I think the clothes here are good, they look good. Kushina said excitedly. I think it's better to go gambling. I seem to have seen a casino just now, and it just happened to make money for us to buy clothes. Tsunade said with bright eyes. Hyuga Chen looked at this unaware big-breasted woman speechlessly. They had lost hundreds of millions on the way. Fortunately, when Hyuga Chen left Konoha, he emptied all the money in Konoha's financial library, which was worth hundreds of billions, which was enough, otherwise Hyuga Chen would have to run for the money. Hyuga Chen is not a person who likes to lose money. Konoha swallowed him billions. Although he said that he didn't want it, he secretly took it back thousands of times, and he even got the Book of Seals. Since Sarutobi Hiruzen and they said he had stolen the sealed book and Konoha money, if he didn't do it, wouldn't he be framed? In order not to be framed, Hyuga Chen had to really steal it. I just don't know if Sarutobi Hiruzen is crying in the toilet now. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen is really crying now. The money that Hyuga Chen stole was the money that supported Konoha's operations. After losing this money, Konoha is not as serious as being paralyzed, but now there are problems everywhere. Hospitals, schools, and various special departments are all reaching out to ask Sarutobi Hiruzen for money. And Sarutobi Hiruzen can only hold the Sarutobi family's property against it, and then go to the Fire Country daimyo to humbly ask for money. This Hyuga Chen doesn't know anymore, he is now following Makoto and the others hard, carrying bags for them. Girls in this world are also fierce when they go shopping. Hyuga Chen follows behind, with various gift boxes hanging on their bodies. Hyuga Chen originally wanted to throw it into her own space, but Kushina refused to let Hyuga Chen hang on her body to show her achievements. Who made Kushina her girlfriend? I can only tolerate her little willfulness. It wasn't until the evening that Makoto and the others finished shopping and let Hyuga Chen off. Looking at the girls who were still discussing clothes vigorously, Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand and wiped a handful of non-existent sweat, feeling exhausted. This exhaustion is not physical exhaustion, nor mental exhaustion, but heart exhaustion. It feels more tiring than a battle with a 6th-level person. Anyway, Hyuga Chen doesn't want to do it again. Episode 133, Chen. Makoto. What are you two doing, aren't you stealing food? Tsunade walked over and looked at Makoto, who fell softly in Hyuga Chen's arms with flushed cheeks, and said suspiciously. No, no. Makoto hurriedly got up from Hyuga Chen's arms and shook his head in a panic to deny. Tsk Tusk. I was just making a joke. Looking at you in a panic, it seems that you are really stealing food. I want to fight you with Kushina. Tsunade said jokingly. Makoto wanted to cry without tears, and looked at Hyuga Chen bitterly. I blame you. How can you blame me, I just got my own benefits back. Hyuga Chen showed a smug smile on his face. Huh. I'm going to cook. Makoto snorted to Hyuga Chen, and then went to prepare the meal. I'm used to the meals made by Makoto, but I can't get used to the meals at the hotel, so I can only work hard for Makoto to cook. After staying in this small town for a few days, Hyuga Chen and the others continued to set off. The environment in the Land of Thunder is not bad, at least dozens of times better than the Land of Wind. What a high mountain! Conan exclaimed as he looked at the towering mountain. There are huge chakra fluctuations ahead. Chakra is very huge and will never be lower than me. Tsunade stared at the front of 190. Hyuga Chen sensed the familiar chakra, with a smile on his face, and said to the women, let's go. Go with me to meet an old friend in front. Old friends? The Tsunade girls have a question mark. Why haven't they heard that Hyuga Chen has any old friends? Looking at Hyuga Chen walking in front, Tsunade and the others didn't want that much, and they hurried to catch up. What kind of friend is it? Wouldn't it be a female friend? Kushina looked at Hyuga Chen suspiciously, walking so fast, shouldn't you rush to see her old friend? Hyuga Chen knocked Kushina's head lightly. I saw a fart girlfriend, it was 8 Tails Gyuki. I killed it before. I didn't expect it to be resurrected after only 5 or 6 years. Hyuga Chen did not expect that 8 Tails will be resurrected so quickly, he thought it would take at least 10 years to resurrect. What kind of old friend is this? This is an old enemy. Kushina groaned. This meeting won't be a fight. Soon Hyuga Chen and the others saw the tall body of 8 Tails. After seeing 8 Tails, the women only wanted to say one word, that was ugliness. Brother, this is 8 tails, whose strength is second only to 9 tails. How come they look so ugly? Conan pulled Hyuga Chen's sleeve and said. Who said I look ugly? 8 tails, who was sleeping on my stomach, immediately got up and looked at Hyuga Chen and the others. After seeing Hyuga Chen, 8 tails' pupils shrank and the body shuddered. It's you. 8 tails looked at Hyuga Chen with red eyes. The enemy was extremely jealous when they met. Hyuga Chen is its enemy. I sensed your chakra, so I came to see you specially. Didn't you expect that your little life is quite moist? Should I thank me for helping you get out of the cage? Hyuga Chen said with a smile. 8 tails is so angry, thank you? I thank your grandma's legs. Looking at your appearance, do you want to discuss it with me? 8 tails woke up after hearing it, then turned around and ran away, blinded by hatred. Now it reacted, and quickly turned and ran. 8 tails, who has died once, never wants to experience death again. Now thinking about the experience when he died, 8 tails is still shaking all over. I kindly came to see you. You turned around and ran. It's really rude to come back to me. Hyuga Chen used universal pull to pull back the huge 8 tails. Episode 134, Otsutsuki Hagoromo, Old Man of 6 Paths. Is Otsutsuki Hagoromo the Sage of 6 Paths? Tsunade asked Hyuga Chen. Yes, Otsutsuki Hagoromo is Sage of 6 Paths. Hyuga Chen nodded. Isn't Sage of 6 Paths a legend? Mikoto said suspiciously. Whoever stipulates that the legend can't really exist, just like First Hokage and Uchiha Madara, aren't they also legends now? Hyuga Chen chuckled lightly. Perhaps many people know Senju Hashirama, the god of the ninja world, but Uchiha Madara has a few understandings. In a few decades, no one knows Senju Hashirama. At most, he knows one name. It used to be very awesome. It's a biography, have you said it? But Sage of 6 Paths is a character 1,000 years ago, and it has long been turned into a cup of less? If you haven't reached that level, you will never know the power of that level. In fact, I can make you live forever now. Really, you are not deceiving us. Tsunade looked at Hyuga Chen suspiciously. You'll know then. Hyuga Chen said with a shrug. Let's go to the water country first. Get the chakra from 3 tails and 6 tails first. Aren't you strolling in the land of thunder? Except for the hot springs and mountains, there is nothing beautiful about the country of thunder. The scenery is not as beautiful as the country of fire. Okay. You have the final say, everything is up to you. Tsunade said, since Hyuga Chen said to go to the country of water, then go to the country of water. It happens that they are also in the coastal area, and they can go directly to the water country by boat. After renting a luxurious ship, they start to set off for the water country. The land of thunder is not close to the land of water, and it takes more than 10 days to arrive by boat. Have you gone to the land of water? A smile appeared on Uchiha Madara's mouth. That's right, Madara-sama, it took me a lot of effort to find out. White Zetsu asked for credit. Then set off for water country, my old body, it's time to move. Uchiha Madara stood up and said. Master Madara, you don't have Rinnegan now, can you take down the kid Hyuga Chen? White Zetsu asked worriedly. Although Uchiha Madara does not only rely on those eyes to eat, without Rinnegan, Uchiha Madara's strength would have to be cut at least by half. Don't worry. Before I handed Rinnegan to the kid Uzumaki Nagato, I had retained my pupil power and sealed in the pair of 3 Tomo Sharingan. There was no problem in taking down the kid Hyuga Chen. Uchiha Madara said confidently. Perhaps because apart from Senju Hashirama, he never encountered an opponent again. After Senju Hashirama's death, Uchiha Madara was also a little overconfident, thinking that no one was his opponent. What about Uzumaki? Let him go with me. After thinking about it for a while, Uchiha Madara decided to be safe. Uzumaki is definitely the strongest fighting force among White Zetsu, and can also help him. The other White Zetsu are a group of chickens, which are used to detect intelligence and deal with Xiaoyu. Is Madara calling me? Uzumaki smiled and appeared behind Uchiha Madara. Next time you dare to appear behind me, I don't guarantee you will be alive. Uchiha Madara said in a cold voice. It's scary? Madara-sama, you can't kill me, I'll still work for you. Otherwise, if you are beaten to death by the kid Hyuga Chen, who will help you collect the body? Uzumaki definitely held Uchiha Madara's leg and wept bitterly. Runny nose. Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched. If it weren't for Uzumaki's use, he would have killed him. Episode 135, Is this the country of water? Kushina looked at the islands ahead, and looked at the surrounding islands curiously. Is it the same as Uzumaki country? After watching it for a while, Kushina lost interest. After arriving at the island, you will be able to see the difference, and there are noble guests on the island welcoming us. It is a great honor. Hyuga Chen looked at the island with both eyes. Tenseigan of Hyuga Chen can clearly see Uchiha Madara sitting on the pier, and Uzumaki with Uzumaki face mask next to him. Had it not been known that Obito was only 1 or 2 years old, Hyuga Chen would have thought Obito was here too. The boat quickly landed. Hyuga Chen took the women off the boat, and then walked towards Uchiha Madara, who was sitting with his eyes closed. I don't know how to take a stool and sit on the ground. I don't care about it. Look at the old man, you are very pitiful. Give you a stool to sit on. Hyuga Chen waved, several stone stools rose from the ground. Hyuga Chen sat down. Stare at Uchiha Madara. The Tsunade girls also sat down without making a sound, looking at the old man opposite with a little curiosity. While on the boat, Hyuga Chen had already told them the identity of the old man, Uchiha Madara, the former taboo of the ninja world, which shocked the characters in the entire ninja world. When Tsunade first heard it, he didn't believe it at all. Didn't Uchiha Madara be beaten to death by his grandfather? How could it be alive now? But this was what Chen said, and Chen didn't have to lie to her. In the end, Tsunade could only accept the fact that Uchiha Madara was still alive. At this time, Tsunade began to feel angry for his grandfather. His grandfather Senju Hashirama had clearly won the Battle of End Valley. As a result, Uchiha Madara was still alive, but his grandfather died of serious injuries. So when looking at Uchiha Madara, Tsunade was a little hostile. You don't seem to be surprised at me? Uchiha Madara looked at Hyuga Chen lightly. Why should you be surprised? Isn't it just a terrible old man about to get into the ground? Am I surprised? Hyuga Chen said calmly. In fact, Hyuga Chen was very surprised when Uchiha Madara came to look for him. He didn't expect Uchiha Madara to come to him. Ha ha ha. Madara-sama seems to be despised, and people seem to look down on you. Uzumaki said with a big smile. Uchiha Madara glanced at Uzumaki, then looked at Hyuga Chen, and said faintly, let them leave, I have something to talk to you. Although Uchiha Madara's tone was flat, it contained a taste of command. The tone of this order made Hyuga Chen upset. Uchiha Madara is a self-esteem person, isn't Hyuga Chen? Uchiha Madara does not put Hyuga Chen in his eyes, and Hyuga Chen does not put Uchiha Madara in his eyes. Just talk about it. My time is limited, but I don't have the time to spend with you, an old man. It seems that you don't want to talk anymore. Uchiha Madara's expression instantly darkened. In his memory, it was the first time anyone had spoken to him like this, except for his father. I have nothing to talk about with you, let's go. Hyuga Chen stood up and pulled Tsunade and them to leave. Boy, don't think you can be mad in front of me if you have strength. I eat more salt than you can eat. Uchiha Madara's slightly angry voice reached Hyuga Chen's ears. Hyuga Chen smiled, then turned around and said, I didn't expect Madara, your taste is so strong, you actually ate so much salt. Shaoxing admires it. Speaking of Hyuga Chen, he arched his hands at Uchiha Madara. It seems unavoidable to use force. Uchiha Madara's scarlet Sharingan stared at Hyuga Chen, his eyes flashing with war. When facing Hyuga Chen, he could feel the pressure that he felt only on Hashirama, which made the warlike Uchiha Madara a sense of war. Episode 136. In front of a powerful force, Susanu's defense is vulnerable. A smile appeared on the corner of Hyuga Chen's mouth, and then disappeared instantly. Gentle Fist Method 8 trigrams 361. Hyuga Chen shouted, a huge 8 trigrams array enveloped all Susanu in. Hyuga Chen's palm was burning with golden chakra flames, his hands turned into shadows, and they hit Uchiha Madara's Susanoo continuously. When Hyuga Chen finished playing, Uchiha Madara's Susanoo turned into chakra and collapsed. Unbearable. Hyuga Chen said coldly. Chen is so strong, he deserves to be my Kushina's man. Kushina's eyes sparkled with stars and looked at Hyuga Chen admiringly. Tsunade nodded and said, the blame has to put Uchiha Madara in his eyes. If I had such power, I would not put Uchiha Madara in my eyes. In my heart, Chen has always been the strongest. Mikoto smiled softly. Yes. Brother Chen is the god in Legend 12. No one can beat his brother. That bad old man is definitely not his brother's opponent. Conan directly calls Uchiha Madara the old bad guy. In Conan's mind, anyone who is an enemy of his brother is a bad guy. How is it possible? Uchiha Madara looked at Hyuga Chen in disbelief. The gentle fist of the Hyuga family has such a slogan? Why didn't he know? Why? I was frightened and silly, so the acquaintances quickly withdrew. I don't want to bear the reputation of bullying the elderly. Ha ha ha. Funny kid, I admit you, but if you want to scare me, you are not qualified. Uchiha Madara laughed boldly and straightened up slightly. Susanoo. Uchiha Madara used Susanoo again, then drew his sword and slashed at Hyuga Chen. Mikoto quickly used Susanoo to protect Kushina, Tsunade, and Konan, and then dodged to avoid Uchiha Madara Susanoo's blade. Iwaden Rock Giant. Hyuga Chen made a seal with both hands and shouted in a low voice. The huge rock giant blocked Susanoo's blade, but his body was chopped off in half, but he recovered in a moment. Is it the same ninjutsu as wooden golem jutsu? Uchiha Madara's eyes condensed. This rock giant is similar to Hashirama's wooden golem jutsu, except that the wood is replaced with rock. Master Madara, I'll help you. Uzumaki jumped out and said. No, I can't take a kid. How proud of Uchiha Madara, how can he allow someone to besiege someone, and the other person is just a 15 or 6-year-old kid? Okay. Uzumaki curled his lips and said, as long as Madara-sama kneels and begs for mercy without being beaten. Uchiha Madara can no longer take care of talking to Uzumaki, and now he has focused on fighting the rock giant of Hyuga Chen. The rock giant turned his hands into sharp blades and kept splitting against Susanoo. Every blow was extremely heavy, causing Susanoo to retreat again and again. In addition, rock bullets continued to be ejected from his chest, and Susanoo's armor clinked. Uchiha Madara was beaten back again and again, her face was so ugly, she was actually suppressed. Although the rock giant is not as fast as Susanoo, its power is higher than Susanoo, relying on its powerful force to continuously suppress Susanoo of Uchiha Madara. Although Uchiha Madara seized the opportunity and manipulated Susanoo to slash the giant rock a few times, the damage he caused instantly recovered, making Uchiha Madara a very headache. It's more troublesome than Hashirama's wooden golem jutsu, it's damn it. Uchiha Madara stared at the giant rock tightly, his teeth itching with hatred. Episode 137, Madara-sama, I'm just kidding. Uzumaki jumped out and said nonchalantly. Uchiha Madara ignored him, but looked at Hyuga Chen. His face was extremely solemn, although he didn't want to admit it, the opponent's strength might be higher than him. If that punch was slammed at himself, Uchiha Madara estimated that he had turned to ashes. Will you continue to fight? Hyuga Chen asked with a smile on his face. You are the only person other than Hashirama who can let me use my full strength. Uchiha Madara said with a slight condensed face. Fire style, extinguish the fire. A wall of flames of more than 50 meters struck towards Hyuga Chen. Water style, great waterfall technique. The water instantly extinguished the flames and continued to rush towards Uchiha Madara, but after offsetting the extinguishment of the fierce fire, there was not much power anymore, and it just gave Susanoo a bath. Uzumaki absolutely, don't be stunned, and attack with me. At this time Uchiha Madara also didn't want to go heads up, he was not the opponent of the other side alone. Is Madara finally using me? But the other person seems to be very strong, I think we should run away first. Uzumaki definitely proposed to Uchiha Madara to escape. Don't force me to hack you to death first. Uchiha Madara looked at Uzumaki with cold eyes. Okay. Wood style, wooden golem jutsu. The trees grew wildly, and finally condensed into the shape of wooden golem. It's actually wood style, how can this Uzumaki face use my grandfather's wood style? Tsunade looked at wooden golem in shock. But what shocked Tsunade is still to come. I saw Uchiha Madara used wood style, the tree world came down, creating a forest in an instant. Then use the arrogant fire to extinguish the arrow, ignite the tree world and descend, and the boundless fire rushes towards Hyuga Chen, and the overwhelming flame will swallow Hyuga Chen inside. Tsunade was messed up in an instant. I didn't expect Uchiha Madara to be able to use wood style. When was wood style so worthless? None of her Senju clan awakens wood style, and Senju clans rival Uchiha Madara, and the Uzumaki face who doesn't know where he is, using wood style is the same as playing. Is this kidding me? Tsunade feels that she has been hit. Wood style is the symbol of her Senju clan. Now that it is used by others, it is a big hit. Chen, teach them a lesson. Tsunade yelled to Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen nodded, and then used Shinluo Tianjing to clear the field instantly, and all the flame trees were swept away. Rinnegan's power? Uchiha Madara looked at Hyuga Chen in shock, more shocked than seeing the physical art that could break the sky. And Black Zetsu, who was hidden on Uchiha Madara, was also shocked. He didn't know Tenseigan. Tenseigan was the eyes that Otsutsuki Himura opened after he moved to the moon. Black Zetsu had never seen it. How can he have Rinnegan's power? Is it the same technique as Rinnegan's power, or he really has Rinnegan? Black Zetsu thought secretly. Sharingan can evolve into Mangekyo, and eventually Rinnegan, why can't Byakugan evolve? Hyuga Chen said softly. But reaching Uchiha Madara's ears is tantamount to thunder on the ground. You actually know Sharingan can evolve into Rinnegan? This is Uchiha Madara's most shocking thing. If he hadn't seen the steel left by Sage of Six Paths, he wouldn't know that Sharingan could evolve into Rinnegan. Hyuga Chen's eyes are the evolution of Byakugan? Black Zetsu, who was hiding in Uchiha Madara's body, thought. Sharingan can evolve into Rinnegan, the first of the three pupil arts, but Byakugan can evolve as well? Times 3, episode 138, Uchiha Madara frowned. He thought it was easy to win Hyuga Chen, but now that he has all the means, he still can't beat the opponent, and even himself is in danger. Uzumaki-ju, blend with me, one last fight. Uchiha Madara said in a low voice. If he can't take Hyuga Chen with Uzumaki-ju, he can only retreat first. Okay. Uzumaki definitely walked up to Uchiha Madara and merged with Uchiha Madara, which greatly increased Uchiha Madara's power. The second round of fighting officially begins now. You have to fight, Madara, your head is really iron. Hyuga Chen disappeared in an instant, then appeared behind Uchiha Madara, and kicked Uchiha Madara to the sky. Then Hyuga Chen demonstrated what is called fancy sling. I feel like Uchiha Madara is so pitiful. Kushina looked up at the sky and was passively beaten by Uchiha Madara, who could not fight back. Damn it. Uchiha Madara gritted his teeth. He also wanted to fight back, but the problem was that he couldn't move at the same time. After Susanoo was used, it was broken instantly, as if it were paper. Round Tomb Edge Prison. Uchiha Madara, who can't hold on, can only zoom in on his move. Will Tomb Border Hell is a technique born when Uchiha Madara awakens Rinnegan. It can give birth to 5 shadows with the same power as Uchiha Madara. 273, but because Uchiha Madara does not have Rinnegan now, only Rinnegan's pupil power, so he can barely use a shadow. The shadow is immune to all attacks except the 6 ways of immortality, and can only be seen by people who have Rinnegan, and can be perceived by those who have learned the 6 ways of immortality. However, Tenseigan of Hyuga Chen can also see that in the face of the attack of the shadow of the wheel tomb, Hyuga Chen did not pay attention to it, and continued to attack Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara's blood was gushing and his body was beaten to death. If it weren't for Uchiha Madara's first-generation cells and the powerful resilience provided by Uzumaki, he would have been beaten to death. The attack of the shadow of the wheel tomb, under Hyuga Chen's elementalization, did not cause any harm at all. Unexpectedly, it has the same ability as the shadow of the wheel tomb, immune to physical attacks. Uchiha Madara got even more headache. You little mouse is really annoying. Sage Art, Thunder Spiral Shuriken. This is the 6th Sage Art formed by Hyuga Chen with his own chakra plus Thunder Fruit plus natural energy, and instantly wiped out the shadow formed by the wheel tomb and the edge of the prison. You can actually attack the round tomb shadow. Uchiha Madara gasped in horror because Hyuga Chen attacked the round tomb shadow. Round tomb edge prison is a powerful technique, but it can be attacked by the 6th Sage Art, and even the power of the 6 paths can damage the shadow of the wheel tomb. You can actually use 6 Sage Art? Uchiha Madara said in astonishment, even he couldn't use 6 Sage Art. Uchiha Madara has no natural energy, and cannot use the 6 Sage Art now. Hyuga Chen laughed and said nothing. If it hadn't been for Hyuga Chen to absorb chakra from Otsutsuki Himura, he would not be able to use 6 Sage Art. The shadow of the wheel tomb is injured, won't you also follow it? Why are you okay? Hyuga Chen looked at Uchiha Madara suspiciously. Uchiha Madara's mother is selling batches in her heart. You killed the shadow of the tomb. He can't come back now. How could I be injured along with him? Suddenly, Uchiha Madara was surprised and looked at Hyuga Chen. You actually know the wheel tomb and the side prison so well. Wheel tomb border prison is his unique ability, and Hyuga Chen knows it perfectly, which makes Uchiha Madara very strange. Episode 139, You are looking down on me. Uchiha Madara said angrily while looking at Otsutsuki Himura ahead. Uchiha Madara, who didn't know the identity of Otsutsuki Himura, thought Hyuga Chen was taking out a dead body to humiliate him. No, I actually value you very much. Hyuga Chen said lightly. Even after becoming a puppet controlled by Hyuga Chen, Otsutsuki Himura's strength is reduced a lot, but the essence of the 6th level is still there. The current Uchiha Madara is not an opponent of Otsutsuki Himura at all, and Hyuga Chen can also use the hand of Otsutsuki Himura to use 6 levels of power. Of course Hyuga Chen doesn't care about this. He is stronger than the 6th rank, otherwise he can't kill Otsutsuki Himura. However, the 6th level abilities can also do many things that Hyuga Chen can't do, such as creating life from nothingness, and things like truth-seeking ball, which Hyuga Chen can't use casually. If Hyuga Chen wants to use truth-seeking ball, he must enter Tenseigan chakra mode. In short, Hyuga Chen's combat effectiveness is stronger than that of level 6 people, but the understanding and application of Yin Yang Dan is not as good as level 6. 80 God Airstrike. Break it for me. Hyuga Chen said flatly. Otsutsuki Himura immediately used 80 divine airstrikes, countless huge vacuum fists, and hit the huge wooden golem Buddha statue. Not good. Uchiha Madara felt a sense of deadly crisis, and hurriedly manipulated the wooden golem Buddha statue to attack. Numerous huge arms, either clenched fists or waved palms, collided with the 80 God airstrikes. Boom! The sky shook and the island shattered. Mikoto controlled Susanoo to fly into the air for the first time to avoid the aftermath of the collision. The shock of the aftermath set off a huge wave, which flooded the surrounding islands. When the smoke dissipated, the huge wooden golem Buddha statue had turned into a piece of sawdust. Uchiha Madara lay hard on the ground, with one eye completely closed. At the time of the collision, Uchiha Madara felt a huge life and death crisis, and subconsciously used Izanagi, the ultimate illusion, to escape this mortal crisis. Uchiha Madara, you should know by now. The amount of salt you eat is not necessarily strong. Hyuga Chen walked over and said with a smile. What do you want? Uchiha Madara raised his head, and only Sharingan was staring at Hyuga Chen, trying to see his thoughts. But let him down. From the time they met, Hyuga Chen showed a sloppy look, and now it is still that sloppy look. Don't you want to talk to me about things? Keep talking. Hyuga Chen said with a smile. Uchiha Madara stared at Hyuga Chen. He found that he couldn't understand Hyuga Chen. This island is broken into scum, let's change to another island and continue talking. Lord Madara, can you still walk? Huh. Don't underestimate me. Uchiha Madara snorted and stood up hard. That's good, I'll go to the island ahead and wait for you. Hyuga Chen sealed Otsutsuki Himura in the scroll again, then left instantly and appeared in Mikoto's Susanoo. Space ninjutsu, how many abilities this kid hasn't used yet? Uchiha Madara said uncomfortably. Fighting him, the other party has no means to come out. Is this looking down on him? Uchiha Madara's arrogant heart couldn't bear it. Why didn't you kill him? Episode 140, huh? False peace, living in false illusions, that's not that I'm deceiving myself, or getting what I want. Tsunade snorted, disagreeing with Uchiha Madara's project Tsukinomi. What's the difference between this and destroying the world? Mikoto said softly. I think it's good, do you want to cooperate with me? Hyuga Chen said with a smile. Yes. Uchiha Madara nodded, but Uchiha Madara didn't say everything about his specific plan. In case Hyuga Chen gets a little bad thoughts, all his plans will be invalidated. Cooperating with Hyuga Chen is actually looking for a tiger skin. But now Uchiha Madara is already riding a tiger. If he does not cooperate with Hyuga Chen, then I am afraid that future plans will be more troublesome. In the beginning, Uchiha Madara wanted to find Hyuga Chen as a pawn because Hyuga Chen was too strong. He was afraid that after he died, no one could suppress Hyuga Chen, causing his plan to go wrong. Originally, he planned to use it if it could be used, and remove Hyuga Chen if it could not be used, but he did not expect Hyuga Chen to exceed his imagination. As a result, the current Uchiha Madara must cooperate with Hyuga Chen instead of using Hyuga Chen as a pawn or turning away, otherwise Uchiha Madara is afraid that Hyuga Chen will dig Nagato's Rinnegan someday. If Nagato loses Rinnegan, all Uchiha Madara's plans will collapse. You mean, you agreed to cooperate with me? A smile appeared on Uchiha Madara's face, and he was afraid that Hyuga Chen would refuse. If Hyuga Chen doesn't agree with his plan, Uchiha Madara doesn't know what will happen. He is walking a tightrope now, and if he is not careful, he will fall into the abyss. The key thing is that he walked up the tightrope himself, and he couldn't get it down. The path he chose was to walk down on his knees in tears. It's not impossible to work with you to complete Project Tsukinomi, but I want to see your sincerity first. Hyuga Chen said with his legs tilted and his fingers tapped on the table. Uchiha Madara's face sank and asked in a low voice, what kind of sincerity do you want? 3 tails and 6 tails, you help me bring 3 tails and 6 tails, let me see your sincerity, so that we can also talk about the next step of cooperation. Hyuga Chen said softly. Are you treating me as an errand? Don't go too far. Uchiha Madara's face was warm and angry. I know where Rinnegan is, the country of rain, the red-haired kid, although the circled eyes are not so good, but the pupil power is not bad. Hyuga Chen looked at Uchiha Madara playfully. Uchiha Madara's face was gloomy. You are threatening me. Uchiha Madara said furiously. Threatening you? Yes, I was threatening you. What can you do? Hyuga Chen sneered and looked at Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara clenched his fists. He was so angry for the first time. Even when the Uchiha family abandoned his patriarch, he was not so angry. You have to know that I am the one who holds the initiative, not you. Hyuga Chen ignored Uchiha Madara's anger and said lightly. If you don't agree, you can leave right away, and then I will say goodbye to you if you have something. You are the first person to threaten me. Really? Hyuga Chen looked surprised, and then said with a slight excitement, then it is really my honor. Uzumaki stood beside him and looked at Uchiha Madara, who was threatened. He was secretly refreshed. He couldn't help being happy when he saw Uchiha Madara deflated. If it were placed in the past, he might laugh at Uchiha Madara out loud, but now Hyuga Chen is here, he dare not speak, for fear of attracting Hyuga Chen's attention. Naruto, Hyuga member awakens godly Tenseigan. Episode 141, Infinite Tsukuyomi is actually Black Zetsu's conspiracy to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya, a conspiracy that has lasted for thousands of years, and Uchiha Madara is just one of the pieces. Hyuga Chen told Tsunade all about Otsutsuki Kagaya and Sage of Six Paths. Then Uchiha Madara is too pitiful. Kushina felt silent for Uchiha Madara. He is pitiful and has nothing to do with us. Chen, you already know that this is a conspiracy, you still want to participate in it? Don't you stop it? It's okay, Otsutsuki Kagaya can't beat me. Hyuga Chen said confidently. Otsutsuki Kagaya may not even be able to beat him now, let alone him in the future. That said, Uchiha Madara's original intention was good. Mikoto said softly. Although it is for peace, it is too much to draw everyone into the illusion. Tsunade couldn't accept it anyway. Hyuga Chen smiled. In fact, Uchiha Madara launched Infinite Tsukuyomi to achieve peace. There is nothing wrong with it. It is also very suitable for Uchiha Madara's character. Peace is just vain, unless mankind perishes, otherwise there will be no permanent peace. Hyuga Chen shook his head and said. In fact, looking at the main line of Hokage, especially in the later period, in fact, 12 revolves around peace, and the word peace runs through the entire animation. Nagato's peaceful concept of revenge for society, which is based on war to end war, is actually the best way, and if Infinite Tsukuyomi is really the same as Uchiha Madara's vision, it is not a conspiracy, then it is also acceptable. Uzumaki Naruto's people understand each other, that is the most bullshit, it can be called an unachievable dream. If all kinds of conspiracies are thrown away, Infinite Tsukuyomi is not unacceptable, but Hyuga Chen himself definitely cannot accept it, and all dreams, then this world is not very boring. Hyuga Chen has no idea of peace. He believes that where there are people, there are disputes, and disputes will make the world more exciting. Of course, all of this is based on the strong strength of Hyuga Chen. If there is no strong strength, Hyuga Chen still feels a little more peaceful, at least there is no need to worry about losing his life. Stop talking about this, I'm going to grab some seafood. Mikoto, you prepare a barbecue, we have a barbecue. Hyuga Chen walked towards the beach. I want to eat big lobsters, you catch a few more. Kushina shouted. Hyuga Chen made a gesture of understanding. Master Madara, that kid didn't put you in sight at all, and actually asked you to run errands, or let's go. Uchiha Madara glanced at Uzumaki faintly. Now that we can go if we want to go? After seeing the strength of Hyuga Chen, he knew that cooperating with Hyuga Chen would not benefit him, but it would bring countless variables to his plan. But Uchiha Madara can't help it, who will expose him to Hyuga Chen's eyes. Even if he ran away now, Hyuga Chen went on the investigation, which would have a more serious impact on his plan. So now Uchiha Madara is riding a tiger. He can't even cooperate with Hyuga Chen. He is afraid that Hyuga Chen will not cooperate with him. Uchiha Madara can only find a way to stabilize Hyuga Chen and prevent him from sabotaging Project Tsuki no Mi. This is what you asked for yourself, why do you have to come to Hyuga Chen and pull me up? Uzumaki absolutely complained. Shut up. Absolutely, have you found the two beasts? Uchiha Madara gave him a cold look, then said lightly. A head suddenly appeared from the ground, and then said, Master Madara, I have found it, all of them are staying in Kirigakure, it seems a little troublesome. Huh. What's the trouble, it's a mere shinobu village, but how can I get me? Uchiha Madara snorted slightly and said with a slight disdain. At this time, White Zetsu wanted to say that when you came to Hyuga Chen before, you said the same, but because of fear of being pinched to death by Uchiha Madara, White Zetsu did not dare to say it. Go. Get those two beasts here, and have a good talk with the kid Hyuga Chen. Now we are all chess players at most. Whoever laughs last depends on the means. I still don't believe that I can't fight you, kid. Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed with cold. After arriving at Kirigakure, Uchiha Madara did not rush in recklessly, he still didn't want to reveal his identity. However, Uchiha Madara wanted to sneak into Kirigakure. It was just a piece of cake. At this time, Uchiha Madara had changed into a misty ninja, walking on the streets of Kirigakure, no one could tell. Master Madara, what do you say Hyuga Chen wants the tail beast to do? He doesn't have any bad thoughts, right? White Zetsu said softly. I'm not that kid, how do I know what he thinks? I will put up with him for the time being. After I resurrect in the future and get all the power back, I will settle with him. Uchiha Madara knew that he had taken Rinnegan back now, and that he might not be the opponent of Hyuga Chen, so he decided to wait until later. Neither Three Tails nor Six Tails have Jinchuriki? Yes, because I didn't find a suitable Jinchuriki, so I just sealed it. White Zetsu nodded and said. So better, there is no Jinchuriki tail beast, under my Sharingan, it is no different from a brute. Uchiha Madara nodded. If there is Jinchuriki, Uchiha Madara will have to do some tricks, and it would be better without Jinchuriki. Under the leadership of White Zetsu, he soon came to the place where the Three Tails and Six Tails were sealed, and used Sharingan to bring down countless ninjas along the way. Such a seal technique is also called a seal technique, break it for me. Uchiha Madara looked at the seals that sealed the Three Tails and Six Tails, with a look of disdain on his face. Three Tails and Six Tails just came out, and they were not excited yet, but they were immediately controlled under Uchiha Madara's Sharingan. A line of blood and tears also flowed from Uchiha Madara's right eye. Humph. If it weren't for fighting against the kid Hyuga Chen, it would consume too much. Uchiha Madara snorted coldly. The battle with Hyuga Chen caused Uchiha Madara's remaining pupil power to consume 99% of the 303. Using Izanagi to abolish another eye, now it is difficult to control the two heads and tails. Fortunately, Three Tails and Six Tails are not strong, otherwise there will even be an embarrassing situation that cannot be controlled. Master Madara, let's leave now. Three Tails and Six Tails have already alarmed the entire Mizukage village. It is estimated that third Mizukage is already coming. White Zetsu said anxiously. Uchiha Madara sneered coldly, a group of chickens and dogs can also stop me. That said, but Uchiha Madara is still controlling Three Tails and Six Tails, swiftly heading out of One village. Uchiha Madara's current state is not very good, and the battle with Hyuga Chen is not light. If he is really surrounded by the mist, Uchiha Madara may overturn. It is not that Uchiha Madara will be defeated by them, but that the tail beast may run away. Now Three Tails and Six Tails are just barely controlled by Uchiha Madara, and they may get out of control accidentally. At that time, with the ninjas of the entire Kiranin village, it will not be impossible to roll over. Hole, dare to come to our Wujin village to make trouble, and snatch the tail beast, leave it to me. Third Mizukage rushed over and looked at Uchiha Madara, standing on top of Three Tails, shaking with anger. Where is Uzumaki? Let him stop the people in Kiranin village. Master Madara, I have already gone to inform him. That's good, leave One village first. Uchiha Madara nodded, controlling Three Tails and Six Tails to rampage in One village. Episode 142, Oh. Why should I do such a troublesome task? Uzumaki said depressedly. You can't go there, otherwise I will be unlucky, with style, cutting technique. Uzumaki's unique move, with style, instantly killed dozens of unprepared chasing Mizunin. Third Mizukage hurriedly avoided in fright, and looked at Uzumaki dignifiedly. Who are you? You can actually use wood style. Third Mizukage solemnly looked at the masked man in front of him. Wood style is known as the strongest escape technique. Since the death of first Hokage, he has never appeared again, and now he appears again. Up. Who am I? Why don't we sit down, I will talk to you, and you will know who I am. Uzumaki sat cross-legged on the ground and said with a smile on his face. Hurry up and return our Kirigakure tail beast, or you will be hunted down by our Kirigakure village. Third Mizukage didn't ask who the other party was, and took the tail beast back. Oh. I am not the one who snatched the tail beast. Go chase and kill him. Third Mizukage revealed Hanmeng in his eyes, and shouted, take him for me. Oh, it's really scary. Uzumaki said in an underbeating tone, avoiding Kiri Shinobu's attack. Where are the ninja 7? Third Mizukage frowned. Master Third Mizukage, the 7 ninjas are out on a mission. They are not in the village. They may have premeditated, knowing that the 7 ninjas are not in the village, they dared to come to snatch the tail beast. Damn it, it's just this time you entangled this wood-style ninja for me, and I will go after the guy who snatched the tail beast. Third Mizukage gave a command, and then led a team of elite ninjas to catch up. Oh, I can't stop it. The rest is up to Madara-sama himself. I hope Madara-sama will not be caught. Uzumaki yelled absolutely. Madara-sama is not good. Third Mizukage has caught up with a team of elite ninjas. White Zetsu quickly reported to Uchiha Madara. That guy Uzumaki is really getting more and more useless. If it is still so useless in the future, there is no need to keep him. Uchiha Madara said dissatisfiedly. 3 tails and 6 tails were not fast, so third Mizukage quickly caught up. Looking at Sharingan in the eyes of the 2 tail beasts, third Mizukage was furious. Uchiha clan, would style ninja, you Konoha dare to attack our Kirigakure tail beast. Third Mizukage said coldly. Humph. Uchiha Madara snorted coldly, without answering, controlling 6 tails to release the tailed beast bomb and launching it towards third Mizukage. No, get away now. Third Mizukage's face changed slightly, and he immediately used body flicker technique to leave. However, there were still a lot of mist ninjas who did not hide, and were bombed to death by tailed beast bomb. The weak, vulnerable. Huh? Feeling the shaking of 6 tails, Uchiha Madara's expression condensed. Just because you want to break free, let me get down. Controlling 6 tails again, feeling the faint pupil power in his eyes, Uchiha Madara felt uncomfortable. 3 Tomo Sharingan is still too weak. It seems that we have to change to a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. There seems to be a pair of Eternal Mangekyo in the little devil Hyuga Chen. It's 2 pairs of Eternal Mangekyo, and his little girlfriend Uchiha Makoto also has a pair of Eternal Mangekyo. White Zetsu reminded him. His little girlfriend's Eternal Mangekyo, do you dare to move? Uchiha Madara gave White Zetsu a faint glance. Thinking of Hyuga Chen's explosive power, White Zetsu was silent. It is basically impossible to get Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in the hands of Hyuga Chen. It seems that the only way to plan Mangekyo Sharingan in the Uchiha family is to deal with this group of guys now. Uchiha Madara looked at third Mizukage, her eyes full of coldness. Damn it, the guy who hides his head and shows his tail, see how I break your mask. Looking at the elite ninja who died under the tailed beast bomb, third Mizukage roared. Among the elite ninjas he brought, Jonin was also the worst ninja. Now a dozen or so of them have been killed by tailed beast bomb. Third Mizukage is very distressed. Water style, great waterfall technique. Huh. Fire style, great fireball technique. Uchiha Madara uses sea-level ninjutsu great fireball to directly block third Mizukage's great waterfall technique. Uchiha Madara has applied the fire style to the extreme. The ordinary great fireball technique has a range of 20 meters. I don't have time to spend with you. Uchiha Madara used the body flicker technique and instantly appeared in front of third Mizukage, then kicked him out. Using the sickle homeopathically, I cut off the heads of a few jonin around him. It can be said that he is old and strong. Madara-sama is really brave and invincible. White Zetsu flattered. It's just a few small characters. After I defeat Hyuga Chen, you can say that I am brave and invincible, said Uchiha Madara, who returned to 3 tails instantly. What a fast speed, what a powerful force. Third Mizukage said, clutching his chest. The speed of Uchiha Madara just now made him unable to react. If the opponent used a sickle to attack, cold sweat broke out on the forehead of third Mizukage, and he was almost killed by the opponent. Get out of here, I don't want to waste time on you. Uchiha Madara said coldly. Although he was afraid of Uchiha Madara, it was impossible for third Mizukage to get out of the way. He could not watch the tail beast being snatched away, otherwise the incompetent hat would be buckled on his head. Looking at the unrelenting third Mizukage, Uchiha Madara's face grew colder. Since you won't let it go, then you will die. Uchiha Madara quickly formed seals with both hands, using fire-style fire to extinguish, and a huge fire wall of more than 50 meters swept across the sky. I'll use water-style to resist, water-style water barrier. Third Mizukage looked at the overwhelming flames, forced down the shock in his heart, and shouted. A dozen or so jonin, elite jonin, and third Mizukage, a movie-class powerhouse, jointly use water barrier, and they can resist the fire wall. Third Mizukage, the enemy is too strong, we are not opponents. Although the fire style was blocked, Wu Ren was scared. If such a powerful fire style were to be used a few more times, would they still be able to resist it? Everyone put a question mark in their hearts. Don't be afraid, I don't believe that his chakra is endless. Seeing the low morale, third Mizukage hurriedly raised his morale. After Uchiha Madara heard this, a sneer appeared on his face, and then released 3 violent fires, one after another. Although all of them were blocked, Mizuna was a little desperate. Even third Mizukage has a touch of despair in his heart. Can't this chakra be used up? I wonder if you can give me some? You can't continue to be passively beaten, or you will be consumed here sooner or later. Third Mizukage murmured secretly. The opponent's chakra is like a tailed beast. It is very unrealistic to exhaust the opponent's chakra. Only by taking the initiative to attack can it be possible to defeat the opponent. Even if you can't beat the opponent, you have to snatch the tail beast back. Episode 143, Give me an attack on the tail beast. Third Mizukage ordered. He wanted to make the tail beast awake. He didn't believe that this masked person, who was suspected of the Uchiha family, could control the tail beast without any pressure. Under the command of third Mizukage, all Mizukage attacked 3 tails and 6 tails, trying to wake them up from the illusion. Uchiha Madara also saw their purpose, and his face was slightly condensed. If his pupil power is enough, he won't care, but his pupil power is very small now. You ants are really annoying, Susanoo. The huge Susanoo resisted all the attacks, and even let Onen's heart completely fall into the abyss. What is this? Taller than the tail beast. How to fight this? How about we retreat? Many Mizukage said frustratedly, never seeing third Mizukage's increasingly ugly face. Susanoo/. Regardless of their despair, Uchiha Madara controlled Susanoo to instantly cut it down, and the earth was split into 2 halves, spreading to dozens of kilometers away, leaving a moat on the earth. And all Mizukage, except third Mizukage, who avoided this blow, the others couldn't even find the body. Completely vulnerable. Uchiha Madara folded his arms and stood among the crystals on Susanoo's forehead, with a slightly proud expression of 767. This kind of power is completely beyond the reach of humans. Third Mizukage knelt on the ground and looked up at Susanoo, who was like a god of war. Uchiha Madara looked at third Mizukage the size of an ant, her pupils shrank slightly, and the moment when third Mizukage was lost, 3 Tomo Sharingan turned frantically. Third Mizukage stayed for a while, his eyes turned into 3 Tomo Sharingan, apparently having been hit by Uchiha Madara's Sharingan illusion. After taking control of third Mizukage, Uchiha Madara couldn't even hold 3 Tomo Sharingan. If it weren't for Uchiha Madara's life force to use Sharingan forcibly, he couldn't control third Mizukage at all. Master Madara, why bother to control him and kill him directly? White Zetsu asked suspiciously. His identity is third Mizukage, and controlling him is equivalent to mastering Kirigakure, which may come in handy in the future. Uchiha Madara controls third Mizukage, which is also to bury a chess piece. If it is useful in the future, it will be a good chess. If it is not useful, it will be a powerful player. Go and see Hyuga Chen. Presumably he is also waiting. Uchiha Madara controlled the tail beast and galloped towards the island where Hyuga Chen is located. In third Mizukage's eyes, 3 Tomo Sharingan disappeared and went straight back to One village. Uchiha Madara hasn't come back yet, maybe she ran away. Kushina doubted. You can't run. If you can run, the monk can't run the temple. Unless he gives up Project Tsuki no Mi, he will never run. Hyuga Chen said with a light smile. Now Uchiha Madara is pinched by Hyuga Chen's lifeline. He can't escape even if he wants to run. If he doesn't jump out, Hyuga Chen won't bother looking for him. Who made Uchiha Madara want to jump out and jump in front of Hyuga Chen? If Hyuga Chen let him go so easily, then he would not be Hyuga Chen. Be careful, Uchiha Madara is not a simple person. Be careful to be calculated by him. He is not a little sheep, but a wolf that eats people without spitting out bones. Tsunade reminded Hyuga Chen. Don't worry. Uchiha Madara wants to calculate me, but I'm a bit close. Hyuga Chen said confidently. It's not that Hyuga Chen looks down on Uchiha Madara. In fact, in terms of calculation methods, Hyuga Chen is definitely not as good as the old fox Uchiha Madara, but Hyuga Chen is strong. In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks are floating clouds, not to mention that the lifeblood of Uchiha Madara is still being held by Hyuga Chen. If Uchiha Madara really dares to calculate him, Hyuga Chen promises that there will be no scum left in him. But Uchiha Madara's efficiency is indeed a bit slow. It has been several days, and there is no even a bit of movement. Wouldn't it even be troublesome for 3 tails and 6 tails? Hyuga Chen, lying on the beach, looking at the blue sky and white clouds, said softly. How to say Kirigakure is also one of the 5 ninja villages, and the most mysterious village among the 5 ninja villages. Even Uchiha Madara would not be so easy to snatch the tail beast in Kirigakure's hands. Tsunade shook his head and said. Come here. Hyuga Chen got up and looked towards the sea, only to see 3 tails carrying 6 tails and Uchiha Madara on the sea in the distance, swimming quickly toward the side. 3 tails swims really fast in the water and will soon arrive at this island. Uchiha Madara jumped off 3 tails and said faintly, "The 3 tails and 6 tails you want, I have brought you." "Thank you Madara, now there is nothing to do with you. Let's go while standing." Hyuga Chen waved his hand to Uchiha Madara and asked him to get out of the way. Uchiha Madara got angry when he heard this. This was really calling him as a servant, but Uchiha Madara was not an ordinary person, so he held back his breath. But Uchiha Madara is not a person who likes to be angry, he plans to return it all in the future. Seeing Hyuga Chen approaching 3 tails and 6 tails, Uchiha Madara dispelled the illusion, intending to get sick of Hyuga Chen. 3 tails and 6 tails, who were awake, looked at Hyuga Chen angrily in an instant, and regardless of the 3721, they attacked Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen smiled disdainfully. Tenseigan instantly controlled the 2 tail beasts, and then used the green ball of light to start drawing chakra. This kind of little trick is of no use, it will only degrade one's own status. I don't want to have another method that the inferior people will use. Hyuga Chen looked at Uchiha Madara with indifferent eyes. Hyuga Chen and Uchiha Madara looked at each other, and the invisible power continued to spread. You seem to be unconvinced? Hyuga Chen smiled coldly. Boy, don't be too much, you don't think I am really afraid of you. Uchiha Madara said in a low voice. Hyuga Chen smiled at the corner of his mouth and uttered a few words softly, magic infinite reincarnation. Uchiha Madara's pupils shrank suddenly, and then fell into the illusion, his eyes lost his mind, and the person who fell into the illusion with Uchiha Madara, and Black Zetsu hidden in Uchiha Madara's body. What did you do to Madara? White Zetsu stammered. It's nothing, just teach him a lesson to make him remember. Hyuga Chen has an evil smile on his face. 6 tails and my Katsuyu look almost the same. Tsunade said softly. At this time Tsunade has obtained the summoning scroll from the wet-bone forest, and can summoning out Katsuyu. No, it's a little bit different from your Katsuyu. Your Katsuyu has no arms and legs, and is more like a slug. Hyuga Chen. Tsunade slammed angrily, but was instantly avoided by Hyuga Chen. Tsunade calms down, I'm just joking, your Katsuyu is still pretty good. Hyuga Chen smirked. Huh. Tsunade snorted, a little unhappy, and punched Uchiha Madara, who was looking dull-eyed next to him, for hundreds of meters, venting his anger. Poor Uchiha Madara has become Tsunade's punching bag. Episode 144. After drawing the chakras of 3 tails and 6 tails, Hyuga Chen kicked these 2-tailed beasts into the sea. He only needs chakras of 3 tails and 6 tails, not tail beasts. Ignoring the shivering white Zetsu next to him, Hyuga Chen walked towards Uchiha Madara, who was punched by the angry Tsunade. Infinite reincarnation. Solution. Hyuga Chen comes to Uchiha Madara and instantly unlocks the illusion of infinite reincarnation. If Hyuga Chen does not solve it, Uchiha Madara will sink in the illusion world for a lifetime, until the soul dissipates. After Hyuga Chen unlocked the infinite reincarnation, Uchiha Madara bleeds from the 7 orifices and looks very miserable, and Black Zetsu, who is under the care of Hyuga Chen, is worse than life. He has lost consciousness and fell into a deep sleep. After unlocking the illusion, Hyuga Chen turned and left. It was noon now. Mikoto's lunch was already prepared and it was time to eat. When Hyuga Chen was about to eat dinner, Uchiha Madara regained his sanity, his expression still distorted in pain. The power of an illusion depends on the mental power of the caster. A person with a strong spirit is an ordinary illusion and has a strong effect. Hyuga Chen's spirit is strong, and the illusion used is a super S-grade illusion. Uchiha Madara, who has turned on Rinnegan, has almost reached the limit of Een and cannot bear it. Even if it weren't for Hyuga Chen to stop early, Uchiha Madara is now mentally broken, and it would not be surprising to become a crazy fool. Black Zetsu, who was under the key care of Hyuga Chen, has now passed out, and it is estimated that he will not be able to wake up in a few years. Hyuga Chen did this to teach them a lesson, to deter them, and to be honest. Uchiha Madara's eyes were full of bloodshot eyes, and the extreme hatred was about to solidify, and he was forcibly suppressed by Uchiha Madara soon. Master Madara, are you okay? White Zetsu ran over and asked cautiously. Uchiha Madara didn't speak, and got up directly over White Zetsu, and walked towards Hyuga Chen. Shall we talk about cooperation now? Sitting across from Hyuga Chen, Uchiha Madara said in a hoarse voice, without the previous haki. Of course, Madara, you are so sincere, how could I refuse? Hyuga Chen said with a smile on his face. Uchiha Madara was silent. Master Madara, you are considered to be Mikoto's ancestors. You should give the younger generation a gift or something? I think Madara, your fire style is so strong. Before Makoto still envied your old man with such a strong fire style. Hyuga Chen said with a smile. Uchiha Madara glanced at Hyuga Chen, then took out a ninjutsu scroll and threw it to Hyuga Chen. There are all the fire style ninjutsu of the Uchiha family. Master Madara is so embarrassed. Hyuga Chen said embarrassed, but his hands were not slow, and he immediately put away the ninjutsu scroll. Master Madara is a magnificent person. He likes to take care of his younger generations. It's a shame not to be Hokage. Hyuga Chen shook his head and sighed, as if it was really a shame for Uchiha Madara. The fan in Lord Madara's hand is so strong. It actually blocks my 8 trigrams air palm like eating and drinking water. What if I had such a powerful weapon? Hyuga Chen looked at the fan behind Uchiha Madara with greedy eyes, and his purpose was self-evident. Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched, he had never seen such a brazen person. Enduring the suffocation in his heart, Uchiha Madara put the flame ball fan that has been passed down from generation to generation by the Uchiha clan on the table. Hyuga Chen immediately reached out and took it. I didn't expect Madara to be so generous, I was a little embarrassed, but since it was Madara's kindness, I accepted it. Uchiha Madara was both frustrated and angry. How could there be such a shameless guy in the world? Even Tsunade and Makoto looked at Hyuga Chen speechlessly, feeling very embarrassing. Your sickle seems to be good too, Madara is a waste if you hold it. Why don't you give it to me? This time, Hyuga Chen directly stretched out his hand and snatched it. Uchiha Madara clenched her fists, and the anger in her heart was almost overwhelming. Master Madara, do you have any good things? Tell me if you have any, let me see what else you have to give to me. Hyuga Chen still looked at Uchiha Madara, dissatisfied. Uchiha Madara's forehead was violently blue, and he wanted to throw a punch in the face of Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen seriously began to think about what else Uchiha Madara wanted to covet. After thinking about it, he found that there was nothing left. Rinnegan is impossible, as long as Hyuga Chen dares to mention, Uchiha Madara will definitely fight him. Hyuga Chen doesn't need yin and yang escape technique or something. In the memory of Otsutsuki Himura obtained by Hyuga Chen, there is already a feeling of yin and yang escape. Master Madara, your Sharingan application skills, shouldn't it be clumsy? Hyuga Chen asked Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara's Sharingan is superb, much better than Makoto. It's good to bring Uchiha Madara's experience to Makoto for reference. Don't go too far. Uchiha Madara stood up and said angrily. Uchiha Madara is not a soft persimmon, Hyuga Chen needs him so much, he can't bear it anymore. Master Madara didn't give these in vain. How about I promise I won't shoot Rinnegan in the future? After thinking about it, Uchiha Madara nodded and agreed, but Uchiha Madara did not believe Hyuga Chen either. His shamelessness has made Uchiha Madara unable to believe him. Hyuga Chen's guarantee is at best to give Uchiha Madara a little psychological comfort. Take a pen and paper out. Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand on the table and stroked it, and the paper and pen appeared out of thin air. Uchiha Madara's pupils shrank, and he saw at a glance that Hyuga Chen's hand was not space ninjutsu, but created out of thin air. Hyuga Chen also understands yin and yang escape? Uchiha Madara took a deep look at him, became more jealous of Hyuga Chen, and started writing with a pen. 10 minutes later, Uchiha Madara recorded his understanding of Sharingan and the application methods on it, and then handed it to Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen took a look and found that Uchiha Madara hadn't manipulated the content, and then handed it to Makoto. Makoto smiled and put it away. This thing is still very important to her. Uchiha Madara's experience is very precious. If it is put in the Uchiha family, it is definitely the treasure of the town. Master Madara, it wasn't me who said that. I used to think that my words were ugly. Now that I see your words, there is a sense of pride in my heart. Hyuga Chen vomited. No wonder Uchiha Madara can't become Hokage. With this ugly word, he can't become Hokage. It's embarrassing to sign a name. Uchiha Madara's face blushed, and then stood up and planned to leave. He didn't want to stay here and get angry. He was afraid that he would burst out after he couldn't stand it. I'm leaving. I will notify you when the plan starts. I hope you don't forget the promise you made before and don't start with Rinnegan. Don't worry, Madara, my credibility is absolutely guaranteed. Hyuga Chen said, patting his chest. Episode 145, Uchiha Madara gave Hyuga Chen a faint look, then turned and left. If such a brazen person can believe it, the sow can go up the tree. If you have anything to do, please give instructions to Lord Madara and make sure to be there on call. Hyuga Chen shouted to Uchiha Madara, who had already gone away. Uchiha Madara didn't even look back, and hurriedly left here, afraid that he would end up with the B*********D who blackmailed him. Poor Lord Madara came with full confidence, and finally went back empty-handed, which was also very sad. To be honest, your face refreshes my perception again. Uchiha Madara is really broad-minded for not turning his face. Tsunade looked at Hyuga Chen contemptuously. What a brainless Shion girl knows, the benefits of getting it are true. Hyuga Chen also despised back. Tic-tac-toe came out of Tsunade's forehead and knocked Hyuga Chen to the ground with a punch. After a soft snort, he turned around and prepared dinner with Mikoto. Hyuga Chen got up from the ground, curled his mouth unhappily, and fiddled with it with the Yantuan fan. The branches of the sacred tree really need to be studied carefully. Hyuga Chen said to himself. He has now obtained the chakra of the 9 tails, but how to integrate the chakra of the 9 tails into the 10 tails chakra is still unclear. Hyuga Chen plundering the tail beast chakra is not as simple as practicing the Sage of 6 Paths mode. It is meaningless to practice the 6 Paths mode alone. He wants to truly become the 6 Paths and does not need to rely on the 6 Paths of the 6 Paths mode. After looking at the fan for a long time, apart from the fact that the Yantuan fan was hard and flexible, he didn't see any difference at all. Chen, I'm going to eat. You always watch what this ball fan does. Isn't it different? Kushina walked over and patted Hyuga Chen on the shoulder. This flame ball fan is not made of ordinary things, but the branches of the sacred tree. The sacred tree is 10 tails, which is the root of chakra. The background is so big? Did you research something? Tsunade walked over and asked. Hyuga Chen gave a wry smile and said, where is it so easy to study? This is just the branch of the sacred tree, and it may not be possible to study it. Let's eat first. Mikoto said. Yes, brother, it's not too late to study in the future. Anyway, this group fan now belongs to us. Well, Conan is right, anyway, the Tuanfan is ours now, so we can study it whenever we want. Hyuga Chen nodded and said. After eating, Hyuga Chen called Tsunade aside. What the hell? It's mysterious. Tsunade had a question mark on his face. You'll know in a while. Hyuga Chen smiled mysteriously, and then asked Tsunade to close his eyes. Tsunade hesitated and closed his eyes obediently, but never forgot to warn him, you must not take advantage of me, or I want you to look good. Hyuga Chen has a black line on his forehead. Is he such a person? Think about him as if he really is such a person. But this time, Hyuga Chen didn't have the idea of taking advantage. He looked very serious, entered Tenseigan chakra mode, and put his finger on Tsunade's forehead. Time. Light. Freeze. Not. As Hyuga Chen said word by word, his pupil power and chakra madly leaked out, absorbing the Tenseigan and the huge Tenseigan of Otsutsuki Himura, and the pupil power increased to almost infinite, and it had bottomed out in a blink of an eye. And chakra, which surpassed Senju Hashirama and the 9 big-tailed beasts, was consumed in a short time. After completing this operation, Hyuga Chen has been forced to disarm the Tenseigan chakra mode, and sat down on the ground, feeling the sore eyes and the emptiness in the body. Hyuga Chen smiled bitterly. At this time, Tsunade opened his eyes blankly, looked at Hyuga Chen sitting on the ground, and quickly helped him up. What's wrong with you, Chen? Nothing. Could it be that you were injured while fighting Uchiha Madara? Tsunade hurriedly checked Hyuga Chen's condition. For some anxiety reasons, Tsunade's voice was a bit loud, and Mikoto, Kushina, and Conan not far away heard it. They ran over nervously and looked at Hyuga Chen with worried eyes. It's okay. Hyuga Chen looked at the anxious women and waved his hands with a smile, indicating that he was okay, and at the same time he was very moved. He is really fine, it's just that his pupil power and chakra are exhausted. Then what are you? Tsunade looked at Hyuga Chen, still worried. Although Hyuga Chen's face is ruddy and his body is unbelievable, it seems that it is not a serious problem. She did not detect anything with medical ninjutsu, but Tsunade still found that the unfathomable chakra in Hyuga Chen's body is now running out. It's really okay. Remember the immortality I said before? I have developed a technique that can make people immortal, but it's a bit expensive. Hyuga Chen had previously expected that the consumption would be large, but he did not expect it to be so large. Are you before? Tsunade immediately checked her body and found that the cells in her body had stopped aging and dying, but the cells had not stopped moving and were still very active. I freeze time conceptually, you will not be eroded by time in the future. Hyuga Chen said with a smile. It's simple to say, and only Hyuga Chen knows how difficult it is to do it. It is easy to make time pause, but it is not easy to make the other party's time stop flowing permanently without letting the other party be affected by the time pause. This is also the reason why Hyuga Chen consumes so much. With Hyuga Chen's current powerful pupil power and chakra, they almost can't use it. Is it immortal like this? Tsunade looked blank, feeling strangely unreal. The technique that can make people live forever is too heaven-defying, it's unimaginable. Mikoto shook her head, and she couldn't believe it. As expected, brother, and only brother can do it. Conan looked at Hyuga Chen admiringly. Hyuga Chen couldn't deny Conan's words, except that no one can do it. Neither Sage of Six Paths nor the Otsutsuki Golden Grave Trio can do it in 3.6. Although Otsutsuki Peach Style and Otsutsuki Yura Style also have time-based ability Time Freeze, they are completely different from Hyuga Chen's Time Freeze. Otsutsuki's Peach Style Time Freezing is actually the same as Hyuga Chen's Time Freezing, and it is not as difficult as Hyuga Chen's Time Freezing. That's not to say that we can live forever, we can always be together. Kushina, who accepted the first, said excitedly. Immortality, there are a few people who have not yearned for it since ancient times. Kushina's excited words made Tsunade and the others come back to their senses, with a smile on their faces, especially Tsunade was the happiest. She is nearly 10 years old than Hyuga Chen Admiral. Although Hyuga Chen doesn't care, she cares about it. Now, time is a dispensable number for her, and Tsunade feels particularly relaxed. Episode 146. The girls were so excited that they didn't sleep all night, but Hyuga Chen slept soundly. In the next few days, Hyuga Chen used the time freeze technique on Mikoto, Kushina, and Conan one after another, which made Hyuga Chen a little tired. Every time the time freezes, it takes at least half a day for Hyuga Chen to recover his pupil power and chakra. 3 tails and 6 tails chakra are also available. Where are we going now? Tsunade asked. Stay in the country of water first. I have to study the chakra of the tail beast. Hyuga Chen said after thinking about it. Okay. It's up to you. The girls nodded without objection. After that, Hyuga Chen temporarily settled down in the land of water. In addition to studying the tailed beast chakra every day, he played with the girls and had a happy life. Why are you back? Uchiha Madara frowned, looking at this Uzumaki, who came back earlier than him. Madara-sama, where am I going back? You don't want me anymore. Uzumaki looked at Uchiha Madara pitifully. Uchiha Madara ignored him and sat in front of the Geto statue. A pipe was connected to Uchiha Madara's body to transport him vitality and repair his injuries. The physical injury is so easy to handle, the key is the mental injury, which makes Uchiha Madara a headache. He has no good way to quickly repair the mental injury, and can only recover slowly. Madara-sama looks very embarrassed. Did Hyuga Chen bully you again after getting the tail beast? Uzumaki asked uninterestedly, without seeing Uchiha Madara's darker face at all. Madara-sama, where's your fan and sickle? Why are they missing? Had they been snatched by Hyuga Chen? Here. Me. Get out. Uchiha Madara roared lowly. Uzumaki was taken aback for a moment, and then disappeared in front of Uchiha Madara as quickly as possible, fearing that the angry Uchiha Madara would tear him up. It seems that I was really bullied by Hyuga Chen, otherwise there is such a big grievance. After running far, Uzumaki absolutely wiped a handful of non-existent men. Long after Uzumaki had left, Uchiha Madara calmed down and asked in a low voice, White Zetsu, what happened to what I asked you to check? Return to Lord Madara, it has been found out. Now that the Uchiha family has 2 geniuses, they are most likely to start Mangekyo Sharingan. White Zetsu immediately reported to Uchiha Madara. Who? Uchiha Madara asked impatiently, his mood is not good now, his temper is very irritable. Seeing Uchiha Madara was already impatient, White Zetsu didn't dare to procrastinate anymore. One of them is Uchiha Fugaku, the son of the Uchiha Patriarch. He is already 3 Tomo Sharingan at a young age. He is a well-known genius in the Uchiha family and recognized as the next patriarch. The other is Uchiha Jien, a former classmate of Hyuga Chen. This person is the grandson of Uchiha's elder. Now he is 3 Tomo Sharingan and is the most powerful contender for the next patriarch. Uchiha Madara nodded after listening, then closed his eyes and said nothing. Since leaving the water country, he asked White Zetsu to investigate the situation of the Uchiha family, who is most likely to awaken Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Madara doesn't want to use 3 Tomo Sharingan anymore. He wants to change a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. He must find a few people from the Uchiha family who have the potential to open eyes. Find a way to create civil strife in the Uchiha family, and let Uchiha Grand Elder die in the hands of Uchiha's current patriarch. If Uchiha Ken turns on Mangekyo because of this, he will bring his eyes back. If not, bring him back. After thinking about it, Uchiha Madara decided to attack Uchiha Ken. When White Zetsu heard this, he looked awkward. He was okay to investigate intelligence, but he was really powerless. Just White Zetsu's strength, how to stir up the Uchiha family civil turmoil. If this is caught, the leg will not be broken. Seeing the embarrassment on White Zetsu's face, Uchiha Madara said faintly, "Isn't there still Uzumaki?" But Madara-sama, after Uzumaki never abandons wood style, the combat power is the elite jonin. Isn't it not good to use wood style in Konoha? White Zetsu asked worriedly. Uchiha Madara frowned. He found that he didn't even have a person to perform the task. Although White Zetsu was good at spying on intelligence, his combat effectiveness was pitiful. Although Uzumaki, one of White Zetsu's clones, is strong in combat, Uchiha Madara does not want wood style to be exposed under Konoha's nose. Konoha has a special feeling for wood style. If Uzumaki never exposes wood style under Konoha's nose, Konoha's ninja will definitely track it down. This will not benefit Madara in the slightest, and even accidentally exposes his whereabouts and affects his project Tsuki no Mi. After thinking for a long time, Uchiha Madara said lightly, "Go to Hyuga Chen and ask him for help." "Master Madara, will Hyuga Chen help us?" Although they have reached a cooperation with Hyuga Chen, but with regard to Hyuga Chen's attitude, how will they beat them? This requires a big question mark. Just go and notify him, it's his business whether he agrees or not. White Zetsu nodded and agreed, sending the White Zetsu clone to deliver the message. "Master Madara, what if Hyuga Chen refuses?" "If he refuses, I will do it myself," Uchiha Madara said firmly. Now that Rinnegan's pupil power for storing the seal has been exhausted, 3 Tomo Sharingan is now completely unable to meet his needs, and must get a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. Also pay attention to the ninja world at all times. I need 267 a suitable piece to execute the plan. Uchiha Madara ordered again. He certainly would not expect the unreliable Hyuga Chen to complete the plan. He must find a chess piece to help him fill the loopholes in the plan, and finally resurrect him. Understand, Madara-sama, I will pay attention to the ninja world and select suitable pieces. After thinking about it, Uchiha Madara said, "If you can, it's better to choose someone from the Uchiha family." Uchiha Madara is the person who knows the Uchiha family best. It is also easier to control by choosing people from the Uchiha family as chess pieces. Investigate the Hyuga family, it's best to get me some Hyuga family ninja bodies and Byakugan. By the way, check Tenseigan's information. Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed sharply, and he ordered White Zetsu. He and Hyuga Chen now say that they are collaborators, but they are actually enemies. Hyuga Chen is Uchiha Madara's greatest enemy. Uchiha Madara knew that he and Hyuga Chen were inevitable in the end, and that battle was probably dead or alive, so he must learn about Tenseigan's information. He doesn't know anything about Tenseigan, and Hyuga Chen seems to know Rinnegan. Now, Uchiha Madara is very passive. You must understand Tenseigan's abilities, and know yourself and the enemy before you can survive the battle. The corners of White Zetsu's mouth are bitter, his mouth is open on the top, and his leg is broken when he runs on the bottom. The Hyuga family regards Byakugan so seriously, how can Byakugan be so easy to get? Episode 147, Uchiha Madara asked you to come? Hyuga Chen, who was sitting on the beach and fishing, said lightly. Master Madara asked me to come. Master Madara wants to ask Master Chen for help. White Zetsu said respectfully. There is something Uchiha Madara can't solve by myself, and I still need my help. Hyuga Chen, who hadn't caught a fish for a long time, said a little irritably. White Zetsu quickly explained Uchiha Madara's plan to Hyuga Chen. Because Madara-sama is still recovering from injury, Uzumaki's strength is not enough, I can only ask Chen-sama for your help. Sure enough, I'm still not suitable for fishing. Hyuga Chen saw that the fish hadn't been hooked for a long time. Hyuga Chen threw the fishing rod into the sea angrily. Go back and tell Madara, since we are collaborators, then I can help. Hyuga Chen agreed with a smile. White Zetsu was taken aback for a moment, and then exclaimed, then I will thank Master Chen on behalf of Madara. It's just a small matter, you should leave first. Hyuga Chen waved White Zetsu away. Back in the hut built not far away, Tsunade walked over and curiously said, I saw that white monster just now. Did Uchiha Madara have something to do with you? Yes, Uchiha Madara wants to get a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan, now I am asking for help. Hyuga Chen said all without concealment. Kushina raised her brows and asked, are you agreeing? Yes, I promised. Hyuga Chen nodded. Are you really going to help him get Mangekyo Sharingan? This is a rival. Mikoto frowned slightly. Don't worry, Mikoto, a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan can't get through any big storms, and it's Mangekyo Sharingan that passed by my hands. But Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique is also very heaven-defying, such as my Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique. Chen, don't be too arrogant. Mikoto is right, Chen, you can't rely on your own strength to underestimate the people of the world. There are countless strange and weird skills in the ninja world. If you are not careful, you will be hit. Tsunade reminded solemnly. Look at this sealing technique. Hyuga Chen took out a ninjutsu scroll and handed it to Tsunade and Kushina. Soul bondage can bond a person's soul, and it will never be unsolvable if it is not at the 6th level. Kushina's mouth grew wide, shocked. I'm going to give Madara a taste of my newly developed sealing technique, and I will save him in the future. I will calculate him first. Hyuga Chen said with a smirk. After being caught by the soul-binding curse, as long as there are any unfavorable thoughts on the caster or the people around the caster in his heart, the soul will suffer thousands of swords and slashes, and even eventually lead to the collapse of the soul. This is the sealing technique that Hyuga Chen knew Uchiha Madara had many tricks, so he created it specially for Uchiha Madara. Originally, I was still thinking about how to transfer the sealing technique to Uchiha Madara, but now Uchiha Madara has given the opportunity to the door. Suddenly feel sad for Uchiha Madara. Poor Uchiha Madara. Tsunade and Kushina mourned for Uchiha Madara one after another. If they were caught in the seal of soul bondage, it would be equivalent to wearing a chain. Brother, are you going to Konoha? Conan asked. No, don't I still have 2 puppets in my hand? Just send one to solve it, don't need to go by yourself. Hyuga Chen gently stroked Conan's soft hair. Aren't you going personally? Why do I need to go to this kind of little thing myself, isn't it a waste of time? Hyuga Chen said, shaking his head. Chen, can you control the puppet from such a distance? Mikoto questioned. I have played against Sand Shinobi for so long, and I have never heard of a puppet that can be separated from such a long distance. Tsunade shook his head and said. Then it's time for you to see what a real puppet is called. How can Tsunade, your scum puppet master, compare with me who owns Tenseigan? Hyuga Chen said proudly. His Tenseigan's ability to manipulate puppets is fully qualified to look down on Sand Shinobi, and he doesn't look down on one person, but down on their entire village. The total number of puppet masters in Tsunade is not as many as the puppets controlled by Hyuga Chen alone. Your one is not a puppet at all, just manipulating a dead body. What a puppet! Kushina murmured. How come it's not a puppet? Which one are you going to send? Tsunade was even more curious about which one Hyuga Chen would send. Need to talk about it? Of course it is Uchiha Chinching, and it would be too much for Otsutsuki Himura to be dispatched. Hyuga Chen released the corpse of Uchiha Chinching, and then controlled the corpse of Uchiha Chinching to leave the water country. Brother, are you still practicing today? Conan asked Hyuga Chen with a slightly expectant look. Hyuga Chen smiled slightly, and then said, I don't practice anymore, I will accompany you to the beach, okay? Really? Great. Conan was very excited when he heard Hyuga Chen could play with him. What's fun at the beach, why don't we explore the forest? By the way, take a look at this island. I have lived here for more than 10 days, and haven't surveyed the island yet. Kushina proposed. Kushina's proposal immediately made Tsunade, Mikoto, and Conan approved. Okay. This island will be ours from now on. It's okay to explore the specific conditions of this island. Hyuga Chen nodded and said. This is a deserted island in the territory of water country. There are many other deserted islands like this one. After Hyuga Chen and the others came to this island, they directly took it as their own. Coming to the forest on the island, Kushina retreated. Let's go back. The trees on this island are messy, and there is nothing to look at. It's really ugly. This is our place of residence in the future. It should be decorated well. Hyuga Chen nodded and said. After all, this island is a deserted island, without the slightest inhabitants. Can you still count on how beautiful this island is? I think it's better to overthrow it and rebuild it. Chaosha Luo Tianjing. Without waiting for what the women said, Hyuga Chen directly razed the island to the ground. Looking at the bare island, Tsunade and the others were dumbfounded, and then began to fight against Hyuga Chen. Chen, look at the good things you have done. This bald look is even more ugly. Don't worry, I will return you one of the most beautiful islands soon. Hyuga Chen calmed down the girls and entered Tenseigan chakra mode. Yin and Yang escape, creation of all things. As Hyuga Chen's voice fell, endless vitality broke out, trees grew wildly, green grass and flowers bloomed, butterflies continued to fly, and various animals were constantly created, and then fled in panic. Soon trees, flowers, and grass spread everywhere, and a luxurious villa appeared near the sea. Tsunade and the others were dumbfounded. Episode 148. This is the yin-yang escape, the yin-yang escape that can create everything? Tsunade opened his mouth wide, and said in shock. In the past, Hyuga Chen also told them that yin and yang can create all things, out of nothing, but at the time they just smiled and did not speak. They definitely didn't believe it in their hearts at that time, because the creation of all things was too far-fetched, and they couldn't believe it. Now they see Hyuga Chen using yin and yang to create the flowers, trees, and all kinds of small animals throughout the island, and they believe it. If you have mastered yin and yang escape, is it a god? Kushina asked. It depends on the definition of God in your heart. According to ordinary people, this is indeed God. Hyuga Chen said softly. Then I also want to learn yin and yang escape. Kushina held Hyuga Chen's arm excitedly. Feeling the soft touch on his arm, Hyuga Chen showed a refreshing expression. He looked at Kushina's xiong. It was bulging, making Hyuga Chen's entire arm sink into it, and a whiteness could be seen along the collar. It's so big, soft, and white. I didn't expect Kushina to develop so well. I couldn't see it before. Hyuga Chen muttered secretly in his heart. Ahem. It is true that you want to learn yin and yang escape, but not everyone can fully grasp it. If you want to create all things, you need at least 6 levels. Hyuga Chen forcibly changed the subject, otherwise Kushina would go crazy with shame. Chen, have you entered the 6th level? Mikoto asked curiously. It's not that easy. I rely on Tenseigan chakra mode to perfectly use yin and yang to escape. Hyuga Chen shook his head. That brother is also the most powerful. Conan looked up at Hyuga Chen in admiration. In Conan's heart, Hyuga Chen is undoubtedly the strongest, the first light in her heart, and her favorite person. Why Conan, your face is so red, isn't it sick? Seeing Conan's face flushed, Mikoto reached out and touched Conan's forehead and asked worriedly. No, I'm not sick, Sister Mikoto, I'm fine. Conan waved his hand hurriedly. Let's go. I'll take you around this island. Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand and took Conan's hand and walked in front. The scenery on the island is beautiful, everything is created according to Hyuga Chen's mind, so the trees and flowers on the island are unique, different from the flowers and plants in other regions. The little animals on the island are so cute that Tsunade girls love them. Seeing the women chasing and playing, the spring light leaked, Hyuga Chen feasted his eyes, especially Tsunade, and almost dazzled Hyuga Chen's eyes. After watching it for a while, Hyuga Chen's blood was boiling. No matter how he diverted his attention, he couldn't reduce the flame in his heart. Read more at hauntnovel.xyz. The fire must be extinguished, otherwise the body will explode. After some addiction, Hyuga Chen couldn't help being more and more uncomfortable. It was simply too tempting. Isn't the island that I decorated as beautiful? You should reward me. Hyuga Chen walked to Tsunade and said with a big smile on his face. What reward do you want? Tsunade looked at Hyuga Chen vigilantly, always feeling that Hyuga Chen's smile was a little evil. Hey! What reward do you think I want? Good evil smile, there must be no good things, let's go quickly. Kushina pulled Mikoto and Conan, turned around and ran. I'm going to look at the scenery elsewhere. Tsunade saw that he was left alone, pretending to be calm and walked to the left. Don't go anywhere else, isn't the most beautiful view here? Hyuga Chen reached out and hugged Tsunade, and said softly. Tsunade was hugged by Hyuga Chen, feeling the hot gaze of Hyuga Chen, his face showed red rime, and his body suddenly fell into Hyuga Chen's arms. What are you going to do? Tsunade stammered and asked without regaining Ben's bold personality. In fact, she had already guessed it in her heart. Do you still need to ask? Of course I want you. Hyuga Chen laughed and said, and at the same time, he was not being honest with both hands holding Tsunade. Quick, let me go. Tsunade blushed and wanted to struggle out of Hyuga Chen's arms, but he didn't use much strength, just a symbolic struggle. Feeling Tsunade twisting his body in his arms, the flame in Hyuga Chen's heart burns even more. Tsunade is completely adding fuel to the fire. In addition to Tsunade's half push and half look, if Hyuga Chen let go of her, it would be a fool. He left here for an instant with Tsunade, and appeared in the villa that Hyuga Chen just created. It is the first time for him and Tsunade, it can't be done in the wild. Although it is indeed very exciting, but there is also the mood to take care of Tsunade. Coming into the room, Hyuga Chen kissed Tsunade's red lips. Tsunade didn't even struggle, closed his eyes, and enjoyed it. 10 minutes later, Hyuga Chen let go of Tsunade and ended the long kiss. Tsunade's face was flushed, and he gasped for air. You want to suffocate me? Tsunade gave Hyuga Chen a white look. Who makes Tsunade you so attractive? I can't help it. Hyuga Chen gently stroked Tsunade's cheek. Humph. I know to say good things, no wonder Kushina and Mikoto like you so much, their mouths are smooth. Tsunade snorted proudly. I'm telling the truth, Tsunade, you are indeed attractive. While Hyuga Chen stretched out his hand and squeezed Tsunade's face, it was very smooth and tender, as if it could pinch out water. You big villain, you know you are bullying me. Tsunade was lying in Hyuga Chen's arms and hitting Hyuga Chen's chest with two small fists. Since Tsunade, you said I was a big bad guy, I'll show it to you. Are you ready? Hyuga Chen stared at Tsunade and asked seriously. Tsunade asked back, I said you would let me go if you weren't ready? No. Hyuga Chen said, shaking his head. Then you are asking what you were doing. Tsunade said angrily. Hyuga Chen smiled, then reached out and threw Tsunade on the soft big chuang, and then pounced on like a hungry tiger. You are lighter, the clothes are torn. Tsunade complained, and then Hyuga Chen's mouth was blocked. If it's broken, it's broken. I can create whatever clothes you want in the future. Hyuga Chen, who was already on fire, couldn't care about clothes, tore up his clothes and put a gun on the horse. It hurts. Tsunade cried out, and quickly reached out to stop Hyuga Chen, and gave Hyuga Chen a big Byakugan. It will definitely hurt for the first time, so bear with it first. Hyuga Chen whispered. Under Hyuga Chen's persuasion, Tsunade nodded, tears still in his eyes. Hyuga Chen didn't hesitate, and his body sank suddenly. Under Tsunade's painful cry, a touch of pure blood flowed down, and a plum blossom bloomed on the bed sheet. Tsunade also completed the most important transformation in his life. Episode 149, Kushina, let's go. Don't listen anymore, it's so shameful. Mikoto's cheeks were red in smoke, and the voice inside made her unmanned girl a little unbearable. If there is a ground seam, she will definitely get in and hide. I didn't stop you, you can leave if you want. Kushina pretended to say calmly. In fact, her condition is no better than Mikoto, her legs are closed tightly, for fear that Mikoto and Konan next to her will see the difference. But Kushina is worried, Mikoto is not in the mood to pay attention to her now, she is shy and unable to extricate herself. And Konan kept looking down at the ground, without raising it at all. Mikoto wanted to cry without tears, she also wanted to escape here, but her legs were soft and she didn't listen at all, especially the sluggish sound inside kept coming, making her legs softer and weaker, and she was almost unable to stand. Stabilized. With a boom, Konan sat down on the ground. Seeing the look in the eyes of Mikoto and Kushina, Konan was so ashamed that he almost fainted. Well, Sister Mikoto, Sister Kushina, I'm a little tired from standing, and I want to sit down and take a break. Konan hurriedly found a reason. Standing is indeed a bit tired, I also sit down for a rest. Kushina blushed and sat down. Mikoto didn't speak either, and sat on the ground shyly, listening to the sound coming from the room with a moan higher than the other. Sister Tsunade is really not ashamed. Kushina complained, feeling uncomfortable. It's all you, Kushina, you have to come here to eavesdrop and bring Konan over. What? Mikoto, you are shirking responsibility, and I have nothing to call you to come. I called you casually and you followed. Kushina said angrily. Mikoto smiled awkwardly. When did you say Chan and Tsunade sisters finished? Mikoto asked shyly after a long time. How do I know this, but it's been 2 hours now, it shouldn't be too long. Kushina shook her head and said. Then if the brothers come out, what shall we do? Konan asked. Mikoto and Kushina reacted immediately after Konan's reminder. If Tsunade's sister knows that they form a group to listen to the corner, then they will not be killed. Kushina made a seal and used the body flicker technique to escape, and then Mikoto and Konan also used the body flicker technique to escape. They were afraid that Tsunade would kill them when he knew it. When they ran away, Hyuga Chen in the room showed a smile at the corner of his mouth. How could they hide from Hyuga Chen by listening to the behavior in the corner? Tsunade didn't know that Mikoto, Kushina, Konan were the 3 listening corners, where she still had time to pay attention to them now. Well, you stop. I can't do it anymore. Tsunade was sweating profusely and said weakly, her voice a little tired, she really couldn't bear it. How about that, I haven't solved it yet. Read more at hauntnovel.xyz. Not only did Hyuga Chen not stop, but the speed accelerated. Tsunade's hum was constantly in the room, she was indeed very comfortable now, but she was too comfortable, and she was about to die. Are you going to toss me to death? Tsunade swears. As long as you beg for mercy, I will let you go. Hyuga Chen said with a smile. Haha. It is impossible to ask me to beg for mercy. Tsunade snorted softly and said stiffly. How could she admit defeat and beg for mercy, so shameful? Okay. As expected of Tsunade, I really have a backbone. As Hyuga Chen said, his hands passed over Tsunade, making Tsunade's wheezing more heavier, and the beautiful soft moaning in his mouth. However, Tsunade did have spine. I just didn't beg for mercy. After half an hour, Tsunade finally couldn't help it. There was no such thing as spine. Little Chen, let go, and let go of my sister. I beg for mercy, I really can't hold it. Tsunade gasped. Call my master, and I will let you go. Hyuga Chen said with a wicked smile. What? Impossible, you be asterisk 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 d. Under Hyuga Chen's attack, Tsunade was overwhelmed before he finished speaking. Master, please let me go. Tsunade couldn't bear it, and could only compromise in shame, but his eyes were staring at Hyuga Chen fiercely. Seeing that Tsunade really couldn't hold on, Hyuga Chen stopped. He couldn't ignore Tsunade at all. Now Tsunade is just the first time, and it is indeed unbearable. After Hyuga Chen stopped, Tsunade breathed a sigh of relief, breathing out the air, as if a drowning man had finally landed. Tsunade, I am still uncomfortable, what do you say? Hyuga Chen said a little uncomfortably. How do I know what to do, I really can't do it anymore, Tsunade said cryingly. Then you. Hyuga Chen leaned into Tsunade's ear and whispered. Tsunade was ashamed to say that Hyuga Chen gave Hyuga Chen a look, and Hyuga Chen actually asked her to do that. But looking at Hyuga Chen's uncomfortable look, Tsunade sighed helplessly and lowered his head. There is only one word in Hyuga Chen's mind now, and that is cool, which is indescribable. After half an hour Hyuga Chen finally confessed, and the flame in his heart finally subsided. Tsunade wiped the white objects on his face full of shame. Hyuga Chen smiled awkwardly, then picked up Tsunade and went to the bathroom to take a mandarin duck bath. During the period, Hyuga Chen took advantage of it and left a lot of marks on Tsunade. However, Hyuga Chen knew that Tsunade had just been through personnel, and had endured his backlog of fire, and his body could no longer hold on, so he didn't bully Tsunade too much. How do you know this kind of thing? Didn't you try it on a little girl? Tsunade asked suspiciously. Just now, Hyuga Chen didn't let her pose. I have been with you all the time, even if I find a little girl to test the gun, I still have that time. Hyuga Chen said with a light smile. Tsunade was the first woman in his 2 lives, and his experience was naturally taught by teachers such as Tsung and Bodo. This is the first time that he has driven a vehicle personally. It has to be said that watching other people drive, and driving himself completely. Yes. Tsunade nodded. Hyuga Chen really stayed with them and really didn't have time to hook up with others. But you guy dare to let me call the master, take it to death. Thinking of what happened before, Tsunade suddenly clenched his fist and hit Hyuga Chen in a rage. Hyuga Chen dodged Tsunade's fist lightly. Instead, Tsunade collapsed because of the pain underneath and the soft body that was tossed by Hyuga Chen. Upon seeing this, Hyuga Chen hurriedly reached out and hugged Tsunade. Tsunade wrinkled his eyebrows, and just now he used his force to get involved in the wound below. Why don't I help you heal it? A group of green and vibrant chakra appeared in Hyuga Chen's hand. No. Tsunade refused to let Hyuga Chen take treatment. If she really wants to be treated, she can treat it herself, but she doesn't want to. Hyuga Chen looked at the stubborn Tsunade and shrugged helplessly. He also didn't understand why Tsunade wouldn't let him treat him. I can only sigh in my heart that women's hearts are needled, sometimes only they know the thoughts in their hearts, and you can't figure it out at all. Episode 150. Although Tsunade has no treatment, Tsunade also has a sage body. Even if it recovers on its own, it is very fast. At least there is nothing to do with walking now, but the walking posture is a bit weird. After a brief cleaning, Hyuga Chen and Tsunade opened the door and walked out into the living room. They saw Makoto, Kushina, and Konan all sitting in the living room, lying on the table. Seeing Hyuga Chen and Tsunade coming out, the 3 women's faces were panicked, and the desperate voice that had been overheard came back in their minds. Everyone is hungry. I'm going to cook. Makoto gave Hyuga Chen a shy look, and then felt like running towards the kitchen. Makoto. Hyuga Chen stopped Makoto. Is there anything wrong? The kitchen is over there. Hyuga Chen smiled and stretched out his hand. Yes, is it? I haven't had time to visit the house yet, and I don't know where the kitchen is. Mikoto smiled awkwardly, and then went to the kitchen. Hyuga Chen looked at the juice drinks on the table, and the corners of his mouth twitched. You don't know where the kitchen is, then how did you get the drinks in the kitchen? I'll go to the kitchen to help too, otherwise Mikoto's sister must be very busy herself. Conan said, chasing after Mikoto. Then I will go to the kitchen too. Kushina looked at Mikoto and Conan who were running away, and wanted to hide in the kitchen, too embarrassed and shy. Wait, Kushina, let's talk. Tsunade said with shame. Looking at this situation, Tsunade also knew that they knew about Hyuga Chen, and Tsunade was not surprised. For such a long time, they would have ghosts if they didn't know, but Tsunade didn't expect them to listen to the corner. Sister Tsunade, what are we talking about? Kushina said awkwardly. No, why am I embarrassed? The embarrassing one should be Tsunade's sister. Kushina suddenly recovered. Do you all know? Even though Tsunade knew they knew, he still asked tentatively. Sister Tsunade, how can we not hear you calling so loudly? When Tsunade heard that an embarrassment appeared on his face, he gave Hyuga Chen a shameful look, making Hyuga Chen feel very innocent. Sister Tsunade, were you comfortable at that time? Kushina reached out and pulled Tsunade aside, and asked in a low voice. Tsunade is extremely shy, and Kushina is really too, asking her this kind of question, how does she answer it? Don't be shy. Do you feel comfortable? Seeing Tsunade not speaking, Kushina urged again. Comfortable ****, my old lady was almost killed by him. Tsunade said sturdily, anyway Kushina knew it, and she was concealing it and it was boring, read more at hauntnovel.xyz. This is also the reason for Tsunade's character. If Mikoto is asked such a question, he might be shy to find a hole in it. It's a lie. I'm so excited to hear your voice. Kushina didn't believe Tsunade's words, she knew how comfortable Tsunade was just by listening to the voice. Haha. Or you try it too, I think that big pervert should be very excited. Tsunade said to Kushina, who didn't believe it. Kushina's face blushed at once. Don't look at her, usually noisy and bold, but in this point, she is the same as Mikoto. Forget it, I'm still young. Kushina's head shook like a wave drum. Small? Tsunade squeezed Kushina's baby with a smirk. Kushina yelled, then opened Tsunade's hand and left in a huff. She was the baby rabbit in front of her. Not everyone can touch it, not even Tsunade. Little girl is really soft. Tsunade said with a smile. She has let go a lot now. In the past, even Tsunade had a bold and generous character and would not do this. Turning from a girl to a young woman, Tsunade has also made a lot of changes. Speaking of which, Tsunade was not a girl before, she was already 25 years old, and she was going to be very familiar. Soon Mikoto made the meal. After the meal, Tsunade went to rest. Today she was really tired, but Mikoto, Kushina, and Conan each found a room and went to tidy the room. Hyuga Chen sat on the sofa and closed his eyes comfortably. Today is definitely his best day. When did you eat, Mikoto and Kushina? Hyuga Chen thought, squeezing his chin. As for Conan, Conan is only 10 years old now, Hyuga Chen is not that beast, so let's talk about it when we grow up. Hyuga Chen gave a smirk. While Hyuga Chen was considering how to eat Mikoto and Kushina, Uchiha Chingching had arrived at Konoha village. At this time Uchiha Chingching was not controlled by Hyuga Chen. Because of the trouble of puppet manipulation, Hyuga Chen injected the black rod formed by yin and yang escape into Uchiha Chingching's body, which contained Hyuga Chen's will. In this way, Hyuga Chen does not have to laboriously manipulate, but this has many shortcomings. Now Uchiha Chingching is like a robot without intelligence and only simple programs. The combat ability is greatly reduced, and he will only fight according to the combat experience entered by Hyuga Chen. It will not be adaptable at all, and it is very rigid. The only advantage is probably that it does not need to be controlled by Hyuga Chen. Master Chen has arrived. White Zetsu saw Uchiha Chingching and saluted respectfully. He knew before that Hyuga Chen would not come in person, but sent puppets, but the puppets were also controlled by humans. He thought he was controlling Uchiha Chingching now. It's Hyuga Chen. I'm not the master. Uchiha Chingching said indifferently, his voice without any emotion. White Zetsu was taken aback, and then it didn't matter that much, it was Madara-sama's mission that mattered. Now we are going to sneak into Konoha, I don't know what you can do. White Zetsu asked Uchiha Chingching, but White Zetsu asked for nothing. Uchiha Chingching's empty eyes looked at White Zetsu, and said faintly, I only complete the task. Then I am attached to you, how about I take you to sneak into Konoha? I only complete the task. Uchiha Chingching repeated again. White Zetsu glanced at Uchiha Qingqing helplessly, then turned into running water, merged into Uchiha Qingqing's body, and then sneaked into Konoha with Uchiha Qingqing silently. Sneaking into the periphery of the Uchiha clan, White Zetsu separated from Uchiha Qingqing's 1.4 body, and Uzumaki, who had been waiting, must also come over. "You are here, I have been waiting here for several days." Uzumaki absolutely complained. "Don't complain, it's important to complete Madara-sama's mission. If this happens, it will definitely make you unable to eat." "I don't eat food, so I don't have to go around." Uzumaki laughed. "And who is this guy? Isn't it Master Chen is here?" "Master Chen should be busy with business, so he didn't come." "This is Master Chen's puppet," White Zetsu explained. "He is the one from the Uchiha family who owns Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan?" Uzumaki asked suspiciously. White Zetsu kicked Uzumaki absolutely, and said, "Don't talk too much, no one treats you as a dumb." At the same time, he glanced at Uchiha Qingqing and found that he was unresponsive, and White Zetsu was relieved.